The Arctic, a land of ice and silence, a place where nature reigns supreme, where survival is not guaranteed, and where the balance of life has been unchanged for thousands of years. But today, something is different. The winds carry with them an unsettling whisper, a hint of desperation in the cold, as though even the land itself knows that things are no longer as they should be. Mark, the captain of the fishing boat, stands at the helm, his eyes scanning the horizon. His face is weathered, his movements slow but purposeful as he navigates the boat through the icy waters. The air is thick with silence, save for the occasional creak of the boat and the distant sound of ice cracking. He speaks, his voice rough but calm, breaking the stillness. "Looks like another quiet day, boys." Not much luck today either. His first mate, Jonas, a young man in his 20s, leans over the side of the boat, his eyes squinting into the vast expanse of ice and water. He frowns, running a hand through his thick beard. "At this rate, we'll be heading home empty-handed again. The fish are getting harder to find." Eli, the oldest of the group, adjusts his gloves and looks around with a sense of quiet wisdom. He's seen this place change over the years, the ice thinning, the cold seeping in where it once was firm and steady. "It's not just the fish, Jonas. The Arctic isn't what it used to be. The ice is melting faster every year. The wind howls and the mood shifts. The cold, harsh reality of the world they've known for so long seems to bite deeper. But then, something catches their attention. A faint movement on a nearby ice floe. It's barely noticeable at first, but as it grows clearer, their eyes widen in shock. Jonas, still peering out at the endless expanse of ice, suddenly tenses. His breath catches as he squints into the distance. "Is that a polar bear?" The others turn. They follow his gaze, and there on the ice is a figure, huge, white, but unmistakably frail. The polar bear moves slowly, its body a skeletal shadow against the white backdrop of the Arctic. Its ribs are painfully visible, its fur thin and patchy. It's dragging its paws through the snow, too weak to move with the strength and grace typical of these majestic creatures. Mark's voice trembles slightly, filled with disbelief as he murmurs, "God, it's nothing but skin and bones." The bear stops, its eyes locking onto the men. Its head hangs low, its expression vacant and hollow. It's not hunting them, it's begging. The silent plea in its eyes speaks louder than any growl could. A tense silence falls over the men. They exchange nervous glances, each of them acutely aware of the danger they're facing. Polar bears are apex predators. They are formidable creatures, wild and untamed, with instincts that have kept them alive for millennia. But this one is different. Eli, who has seen his share of storms and animals in distress, speaks quietly, his voice filled with a deep underlying concern. "Bears don't do this. They don't approach humans unless they're desperate." Jonas looks to Mark, his voice shaky with uncertainty. "What do we do? We can't just let it starve." Mark, the captain, shakes his head, his expression firm, but his gaze softening as he watches the bear take a hesitant step forward. He knows what's at stake, but there are rules, codes they live by. "We don't interfere with nature. That's the rule." But as he speaks, the bear takes another weak step forward, its movement slow and unsteady. His son had never truly breaks the silence. Not lost, a low, hollow noise. Just it's waiting. Not a growl, waiting for his father to be ready. It's almost a sigh. "I'm sorry." A sound of exhaustion. Ewan whispered, his voice breaking. The bear's voice is soft, then almost as though it's asking deliberate for movement. It pressed its head against his hand. Moment, something shifts inside them. His fingers sank into the thick fur. Compassion begins to rise in his place, afraid that if he let go, flickers to the bucket of fish by his side. He hesitates for a moment, his hand hovering over the fish. And after the rules in his mind war against Ewan the pull in his heart alone. But then slowly, he reaches for a handful. He let out a deep, shaking breath. He tosses them onto the ice. "Come on, Isaac." They slide towards the bear. "Let's go home." The bear stops, sniffing the air, its eyes wide. It pauses, then begins to move toward the food. It's slow, each step filled with uncertainty. The bear reaches the fish and, with a gentle mouth, takes one. It chews slowly, cautiously, as though it has forgotten how to eat, as though the act itself is a distant memory. Jonas whispers, his voice barely audible, "It's thanking us." Mark watches as the bear devours the fish, its movements careful and desperate. He speaks softly, his words carrying a heavy weight. I never thought I'd see this. They toss more fish onto the ice, the stark contrast between the survivalist predator and the frail creature before them weighing heavily on their hearts. The bear eats with careful desperation, each bite a symbol of the struggle it's enduring. The scene is haunting, one of nature's fiercest predators, reduced to begging for scraps. The bear lingers near the boat. It doesn't leave immediately. Instead, it stays for a few moments longer, gazing at the men, its eyes filled with something unspoken. Gratitude? Recognition? The connection between them feels palpable, a bridge built in the silence of the cold. Jonas crouches at the edge of the boat, his eyes fixed on the bear. He speaks softly, as though sharing a secret with the rest of the world. I read somewhere that animals remember kindness. Maybe it knows we're helping. The bear lets out a deep, rumbling sound. It's not a growl. It's more like a sigh of relief, or perhaps something more, a quiet acknowledgement. Then slowly it turns, walking back toward the ice. Its figure fades into the endless white, disappearing into the vast cold expanse. The fishermen watch, speechless, the weight of what just transpired hanging in the air. No words are needed. They've seen something rare, something beautiful, a moment of pure connection between human and beast. The camera shifts, and we see images of melting ice caps, starving polar bears struggling to survive, and news reports about the accelerating impact of climate change. The world is changing, and with it, the very balance of life. Polar bears have roamed the Arctic for thousands of years, but now their world is being destroyed. I've spent my life on these waters, Eli says, his voice filled with reverence and sorrow. I've seen storms, I've seen whales, I've seen things I can't explain. But that was different. Mark, his voice thick with emotion, adds, I thought we were supposed to be the tough ones out here. But that bear, it broke me. As the fishermen return to shore, they know they have witnessed something powerful. Their video of the encounter goes viral, sparking conversations around the world about climate change, the vulnerability of the Arctic, and the need for urgent action to protect the planet. Jonas's voice echoes in the background as footage of the bear plays. If a starving predator can trust us, if we can look into its eyes and see something more than just an animal, maybe there's hope for us yet. The final shot lingers on the bear, a small figure in the distance, trudging through the snow. It stops, looks back, and then, as the camera slowly fades, it disappears into the white, leaving behind a moment that will never be forgotten. We share this world, not just with each other, but with the creatures who walk beside us. Sometimes all it takes to restore faith in humanity is a simple act of kindness.